Stand by. Alright, the stream seems to be up and running, as is unusual. Nobody watching yet, but I'll do a bit of an intro for anybody who's going to be watching this later on. This is an FSP 600-watt power supply, picked out of the trash. Seems to be working just fine. Haven't load tested it or anything, but fan spins up, device turns on, so I think it would just take it apart quickly and have a bit of a look inside. And we've got a viewer, hello there. Just refreshed the page here, the chat went bonkers. So if you said anything I don't know. Yeah, I'm just gonna get at this. The reason I do these streams is because I'm too lazy to make a proper video about this stuff all the time. So let's just rip this thing apart and see if there's going to be anything actually wrong with this unit. Again, it turns on just fine. Has all the voltages, everything looks just hunky-dory with it. Let's just double check it. Double check it. Power on, turns on just fine. Hey to you watching, welcome to the stream. This is probably not going to be very exciting. I'm just going to have a little dig around this power supply, see if we can do anything about it. It seems to be a relatively decent power supply, 80 plus rated. None of these bronze or gold ratings, just generic old 80 plus, but it's better than not being rated for it, I suppose. We've got power good. 5 volt looks fine. 3.3 volt looks fine. 5 volt standby looks fine. What MOSFET to check? We've got a negative 12. It's there. Oh, that's about it really. So just measuring it off the cuff like that, this power supply seems just fine. But there could be some hidden issues, could be going bad on the load. These do use TPO caps, but they use relatively good quality TPO caps, they don't use the cheaper green ones. So I'm not really suspecting bad caps in this thing actually. It seems to be relatively new as well. I saw it had a receipt taped to it, and it seems to have been purchased in 2014, so it's not even very old. Let's just crack it open. I actually run a similar power supply to this in my server, and it's been going very strong. So I have good hope for the actual build quality of this particular unit, and it could be well worth repairing if there's anything wrong with it. That was just saying to myself in. Righto, so there's the inside. It's got big TPO caps there on the secondary, but they look pretty okay. They are the more expensive series. And what's the camera? There we go. TPO caps on the secondary, but what's that series called? It's not the bad SC series, which you usually see. Do they have a name? KF perhaps? Actually, there's a capson as well. Yeah, there's a few capsons. But yeah, these are Chinese caps, so they tend to look bad when they go bad, so I wouldn't expect that to be an issue on this unit. No. Oh hell yeah, another stream. Hello. Hello there, Pinkorak, welcome. This is unlikely to be very exciting because I think this supply is going to work. Yeah, I think it's just going to have nothing wrong with it. Because it seems very fresh actually. But I'm going to take it apart and check for bad solder joints and so forth. Then I'll just try and load it down with something, and if it performs well, then it's just going to be good to go. Given the good statistics we've had with power supplies on this channel recently, this should turn out just fine. Wogone, I do not know what that means. Right, it's one of these annoying ones where you have to desolder the AC jack. Hello in UK slang. Okay, I've never heard that before. Let the smoke out or riot. No, there's not unlikely to be any smoke coming out of this. Haven't you guys learned? I only let the smoke out of cheap, horrible crap, and these FSP supplies are relatively nice. Let's just try this out of here. Blah. Let's just get rid of the mains cord. Oh, this supply seems to actually have the what's that? Yeah, the rectifiers are surface mount on the bottom of the board. That's quite nice. I like that. That's a very neat solution. And again, to anybody who's just joining, I'm just giving this trash picked power supply a bit of a look through, since it seems to be working fine, but was probably discarded on warranty or something. Seems to be likely because whoever owned it just had something else wrong in his computer and it was misdiagnosed. But it could have some hidden issues. It does seem to run a few hours. It has a bit of, is that more tobacco? Yeah, I think this might have been a smoke to smoke his computer as well, but it doesn't seem to have many hours on it. Definitely not many hours. It looks brand new actually, save for a little tiny bit of dust. Yeah, I'm going to check out the solder joint, since it seems to be working. It's likely to be some intermittent problem, and intermittent problems often have to do with bad wave soldering in my experience. but then again I've seen the soldering on these FSP units tends to be quite good. I've never had any. I've had a couple of them, and I've never had any reason to actually complain. I've got some. I really like the design of this thing. I'll give you a better look at the PCB. Because pretty much everything on this, on the secondary, focus. Pretty much everything on the secondary is just surface mount. You've got surface mount rectifiers and surface mount little diode and surface mount current shunt resistors up there. And there's really not much under the secondary heatsink at all. There just seems to be a couple of little packets. Could be the standby 5-volt rectifier or something like that. Looks very nice. Very nice indeed. Righto, so yeah, solder joints. Solder joints. Yeah. It's not horribly wrong, but yeah, the rectifier looks a bit wonky. I'm gonna just rework that. It just seems to, the solder just seems to be ever so slightly not making perfect contact with the actual copper. Again, I've got no idea if there even is an issue on this device, but yeah, since there's nothing obvious, all I can really do is just rework random stuff and test it afterwards and see if it'll work. Give it a bit of loving. Like so. 11 watching. Hello everybody. I'm just going through this little FSP 600-watt power supply. It seems to work, so it's likely to have some intermittent issue. But we're going to find out. It looks very healthy right now, so it might just be misdiagnosed and discarded for no good reason at all. I'm also poking around a somewhat working laptop power supply. Hooray for doing stuff around mains. Yep. And mains isn't too bad. You just have to keep your arms in check. Could it be soldered onto a transformer? The transformer looks to be hand soldered. Not the best solder job I've ever seen, but that looks good enough. Shouldn't be an issue. This power supply just looks way too healthy, honestly. Definitely nothing obvious poking out. There's more. It seems to have been touched up in the factory. Because we've got a wave solder device there which has been manually reflowed. I don't really trust that. looks a bit dicky. Those Chinese factory soldering stations seem to have no temperature settings beyond the 600 degrees. So all splattering horrible. That's a surface mount IC, which seems to be a bit dicky. It's a bit offset. It looks to be soldered well enough, but yeah, worth of a rework. So there's certainly been some issue with this power supply since they have been reworking it in the factory. Why they've done that though, it's anybody's guess. But we'll rework it some more. There we go, that should do that, I see. Nope, shorted it. Yep, there we go, the solder joint should be fine now. How's the primary side? Oh, hello. Yeah, it has a bad solder joint. Yep. Big old crack in it. Big old crack. That's on one of the likely PFC switching transistors. We are seeing a lot of those. But yeah, that's a definite fault. Everything is just not attached properly to the transistor during the wave soldering process. We'll just rectify that. Oh, that's nice. It's always nice finding a proper fault in a device. There we go. All better. If I had a fancy microscope, I would have shown you the big crack, but sadly I don't. Yeah, perhaps that was the only issue. This guy really looks very healthy otherwise. Okay, I'm here. Yo, Cossag, hello there. Logan Dorsey. Good to see you, mate. We're just checking through this power supply. It seems to be working fine, but it was thrown out for some reason, so I'm just going to check it over. I'm going to check out the capacitors as well. In particular the primary side cap. They seem to have a relatively high infant mortality rate. 330 microfarads, 420 volts. Now, where'd my software go? Survey the probes. zeroing over probes on the ESR meter is so dicky. You need to be accurate down to like a couple of milliohms. Yeah, that's going to be good enough. Hooray! Let's just see what the primary cap is. 400 milliohms, 292 microfarad. Yeah, that's fine. What's your real name? My real name is Ludwig. Like the famous old composer. Oh well, we've got giant secondary caps on this thing. 4,700 microfarad, 10 volts. Let's just check those out. $20 million, 10,000 microfarads. 10,000. Jeez. This must have a very low switching frequency. But yeah, that's fine. Now what's the other rail gonna be? Do we have 10,000 micro? We've got 10,000 microfarads on the 12-volt rail. That's silly. That is so silly. This must be using such a low switching frequency. A 5-volt rail. 7,000 microfarads, 25 milliohms. Say it again, can't hear you, it's too late here. My real name is Ludwig, like Beethoven. Yeah, this thing just looks so new that I strongly doubt there's going to be bad caps in it. Strongly doubt it. The soldering quality of these little riser boards is not very good though. They're definitely from a different factory or different process. Could be worse though. Could still be worse. Oh, that one's impossible to see properly. Yeah, the little riser boards are definitely not as high quality as the rest of the power supply. Yeah, but the soldering quality looks good enough. Looks good enough. Yeah, in all honesty, I can't really find any other obvious faults except for that one bad solder joint. Need any help? No, I really don't. There's hardly anything anybody on the internet could do for this. It's just a visual inspection, really. Yeah, that's another one I'm going to reflow just for the sake of it. Where did it go? There we go. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna put this thing back together and load test it now. It just looks way too healthy, and it worked, so I don't know. I'm waging that whoever trashed this just misdiagnosed it, because it seems to be in fine working order. Just a bit of crud in the fan. I'll just clean that out while we're at it. One of these horrible sleeve-bearing Yateloon fans in this one as well, so this fan is not long for this world if this pastefly is installed horizontally. What is it for? Well, this is just a generic computer power supply picked out of the trash. Nothing exciting, nothing special. It's just a 600 watt power supply. Oh, hello. We've got some tin splatter in here. That could be causing some issues. There we go. I'll just put this back, and to anybody who's just joining, I'm just about to more or less finish up this the fix I just gave this paper supply a look through. It seems to be in perfectly good working order, save for one bad solder joint. So I'm just going to put it back together now and just give it a test trial, I suppose. Find some suitably worthless computer to let it be loaded down. I better not solder live to ground. That wouldn't be working very well at all. I'm 21. How old are you? I think I'm 23, but I'm not entirely certain. This seems to be a pretty nice quality paper supply though. Like, while we're at it, just to give you guys a relatively good look at the insides. Yeah, so this is what we have on the inside. So the fan, of course, is just a Yateloon piece of crap, gonna fail for you. But capacitor-wise, we've got Capxon and high-end TPO, so yeah, that's not very good either, but we've got a lot of it, so it has, you know, tendencies to be relatively reliable despite having the original caps. Little heatsink on the rectifier there. Very nice looking mains input filter. We've got, like, what's that? No left and 3 common mode rejection chokes. Everything populated, that's very nice. Active PSC. Nice build quality, isolated heatsinks it seems. Transformer looks a bit cheap, but this is a real power supply, so it's going to be okay. Nice big choke on the 8-put. It just looks like a nice quality power supply, save for bad caps. Connor Beckley, hi everyone. Hello there, Connor. If you want, I can send you some crap to fix. No thank you, Logan. I've got enough crap to fix as it is. There's literally a pile of broken shit just out of the frame of a camera. And I'm just getting around to fixing all the old PC power supplies I have right now. I'm tired of just having them lying around. Click goes the ring. There we go. All back together. Okay, just checking I needed help, but never mind. What? I know. If you want to send me something, then go ahead. It's probably... Ow! Damn it. It's probably not worth it since I'm in Europe. But I mean, I can give something a look over, but yep, shipping stuff back and forth to me is just not worth it for anybody ever. Alright, let's just try and power this thing up again and see if it's broken. If it's actually failed, then it'll be easy to troubleshoot. But I'm betting it's just going to work fine. Power on there, power on there, draws a little spike. And it's running. Fan is turning. Probably have fine 8-bit voltages. Yeah, this thing just looks way too good. It's, I think, a quick fix, 1 or 2 things wrong with it. What kind of thing are you even talking about, Logan? Some power supply? Anyway, let's just try and load this power supply down a bit. I've got a 100-watt car light bulb here on the ceiling. This is going to be bright. Poke face wires in there. Right, let's see if it'll light. These light bulbs usually trip the overcurrent protection since they're basically dead short when you light at first, but we'll give it a go. No, that's working perfectly. It's badly cross-loaded, so we can check the regulation now as well. Let's see if I'm going to see that meter. I can't see that meter. 100-watt car light bulbs are very, very bright. Volts, oh, 12.22. That's not too bad. Perhaps it's regulated by the 12-volt rail. 5 volt, oh, 5.2. This is looking just fine. That's actually excellent. Very good regulation of this thing. I'm thoroughly impressed. Thoroughly impressed. Let's just try and load down the 5-volt rail as well. And if that works, I'm just going to call this a working power supply. Do I have a Molex? Right, a 5-volt rail. Not as heavily loaded down, of course, but that's looking just fine. Voltages 4.9, 12.4. Yeah, that's okay. That's just fine. And it's not going to die if I bash it. No, looks absolutely okay. Yeah, working power supply. Only thing wrong with it was likely that one bad solder joint, but because that was an obviously bad solder joint, and this is a single layer board, so there's no through plating for the solder to actually grab onto if you get a kind of bad joint. So yeah, I'd wager this thing is going to run like new. It practically is new. I saw the receipt which was taped onto it was dated 2014, so it was probably a warranty replacement. And that's fair since this, you know, is a warranty issue. Definite manufacturing fault if the bad solder joint was indeed the fault. So this is going to find itself a nice new home somewhere in some PC. It's a nice 80 plus rated power supply as well. Which way does this go? That way. Oh, I should probably screw the PCB in place before putting the lid on. That makes things a lot easier. A lot easier. Nice metal threaded insert as well. What's happening in this stream? Just got here. I'm sorry to say, the T2 phase, you're a bit late. This power supply was working. It came out of the trash, and functionally it seemed to be fine. But I had it apart during the stream and found a bad solder joint in it, and I fixed that, and now it's basically tested and good to go. And I'm just putting it back together, so I'm sorry you missed all the action. Because right now this stream is just a working power supply reassembly. Free working power supply reassembly. Well, one can never have too many spare power supplies, though. didn't go together properly. It has a bit of a weird case where you have these little ledges on the back as well, which you kind of don't always want to go in. There's actually just a lot of ledges all over on this, but it makes it very sturdy. There we go. It has a bit of an Indian god syndrome where you need many arms to keep everything in place, because now these ledges came out and it's hooked in on some mechanism and it's not coming apart again. Ouch. Come on. Come together now. Let's get all the ledges ledged in place. There we go. I dented the crap out of that corner, breaking it apart. Oh well, doesn't matter. Now it's just working power supply reassembly. I have a PSU in my PC that can push 54 amps at 12 volts. High current indeed. Yeah, that HX1050 I had a look at the other day. I think that was rated for about 90 amps on the 12 volt rail. Just stupid amounts. It's a bit odd because I don't think there's any separate monitoring for all these 12 volt 8-bit wires, so you could theoretically have a lot of smoke if you had just a kind of short on one of the 12 volt wires, because you know you've got 90 amps backing that single 18 gauge 12 volt line, and 18 gauge is not okay for 90 amps, I can tell you that much. There we go. What are the ratings on this thing? I can give you a view of a sticker. Let's try it. There we go. That's almost showing up even. So it's rated at 42 amps at 12 volts. 504 watts. And 3 amps 5 volts standby. 18 amps at 5 volts, so yeah, it's pretty okay. 88% efficiency at some unknown load. I think this thing is 80 plus rated properly. They bragged about it on their website anyway. So there you go. I'm gonna call that a fix. So thank you for watching, and I'm gonna end the stream now. Have a good day, everybody.